Act.
Take action or do something. For example, don't act like you're better than I am.
Adapt.
Become adjusted to new conditions. For example, she knew how to adapt herself.
Answer.
Reply or respond to somebody. For example, his answer was very vague.
Range.
Put into a proper or systematic order. For example, arrange the tomato slices evenly on the top.
Ask.
Make a request or demand for something to somebody. For example, the student asks the question to his teacher.
Attack.
Attack someone physically or emotionally. For example, the attack of flu left his feeling very groggy.
Bake.
Cook and make edible by putting in a hot oven. For example, bake the bread in a hot oven for 40 minutes.
Bathe.
Cleanse the entire body. For example, I like to bathe regularly.
Bite.
To grip, cut off, or tear with or as if with the teeth. For example, she took a bite of donut and licked her lips.
Bow.
Bend one's knee or body or lower one's head. For example, she gave a formal bow and left the room.
Burn.
Destroy by fire. For example, blow out the candles before they burn out.
Buy.
Obtain by purchase or acquire by means of a financial transaction. For example, she usually buys all her vegetables at the market.
Cook.
Prepare a hot meal. For example, she's an exceptionally good cook.
Catch.
Perceive with the senses quickly, suddenly, or momentarily. For example, he catches the dragonfly using insect net.
Cash.
Go after with the intent to catch. For example, other officers gave chase but the robber escaped.
Carry.
Move while supporting, either in a vehicle, or in one's hands or on one's body. For example, he tries to carry a heavy load.
Clap.
Clap one's hands together. For example, let's give the children a big clap.
Clean.
Make clean by removing dirt, filth, or unwanted substances from. For example, keep your room neat and clean.
Climb.
Go upward with gradual or continuous progress. For example, reserve your strength for the climb.
Close.
Become closed. For example, would you kindly close the door?
Cough.
Exhale abruptly, as when one has a chest cold or congestion. For example, the smoke made me cough.
Crawl.
Move slowly in the case of people, or animals with the body near the ground. For example, our baby is just starting to crawl.
Cry.
Shed tears because of sadness, rage, or pain. For example, her lip quivered and then she started to cry.
Cut.
Make an incision or separation. For example, I cut the paper into small pieces.
Dance.
Move in a pattern, usually to musical accompaniment. For example, several couples were on the dance floor.
Dig.
break up and move earth with a tool or machine or with hands. For example, you would have to dig up the plant yourself.
Discuss.
Speak with others about something, talk something. Over in detail. For example, they had important matters to discuss.
Dive.
Swim underwater. For example, she had just learnt to dive.
Draw.
Make a mark or lines on a surface. For example, it's important to draw out a child's potential capacities.
Dream.
Experience while sleeping. For example, don't let dream just be your dream.
Drink.
Take a liquid into the mouth and swallow. For example, he always drank gallons of water.
Drive.
Operate or control a vehicle. For example, let's drive down to the beach.
Eat.
Put food into the mouth and chew then swallow it. For example, she is eating some foods.
Fight.
To argue or quarrel. For example, there were children fighting in the playground.
Find.
Come upon after searching. Find the location of something that was missed or lost. For example, I've looked everywhere, but I can't find the key.
Fix.
Restore by replacing a part or putting together what is torn or broken. For example, they know how to fix the cars.
Fold.
Bend something flexible and relatively flat over on itself, so that one part of it covers another. For example, she folded all her clothes.
Follow.
To travel behind, go after, come after. For example, she hired a private detective to follow her husband.
Give.
Cause to have in the abstract sense or physical sense. For example, he would like to give her a present for her birthday.
Help.
Make it easier for someone to do something by offering one's services or resources. For example, could you help me to choose a tie?
Hit.
Cause to move by striking. For example, she has hit 15 home runs this season.
Hold.
Have or hold in one's hands or grip. For example, they hold together for doing a game.
Hug.
Squeeze someone tightly in your arms, usually with fondness. For example, he gave his dog a warm hug.
Jog.
Run for exercise. For example, we go for a jog in the park every week.
Juggle.
Manipulate by or as if by moving around components. For example, to learn to juggle, take one ball and practice tossing it from hand to hand in an easy arc.
Jump.
Push oneself off a surface and into the air by using the muscles in one's legs and feet. For example, she can jump as high as I can.
Keep.
Continue a certain state, condition, or activity. For example, keep the dog quiet.
Kiss.
Touch lightly or gently. For example, he gave his son a gentle kiss on the cheek.
Knit.
To make interlocking loops of wool or other yarn with knitting needles or on a machine. For example, my mother taught me how to knit.
knock,
Deliver a sharp blow or push. For example, knock on the door before you enter.
laugh,
Make the spontaneous sounds and movements of the face that are the instinctive expressions of lively amusement. For example, the last joke got her the biggest laugh.
lift,
Raise from a lower to a higher position. For example, he is strong enough to lift that thing.
listen,
Hear with intention. For example, Brenda likes to listen pop music.
lock,
Fasten with a lock. For example, I forgot to lock the door.
look,
Perceive with attention. Direct one's gaze towards. For example, look, it's going up that tree.
manage,
Achieve something by means of trickery or devious methods. For example, the pilot managed to get airborne.
make,
Cause to do in a specified manner. For example, she made her own pizza.
move,
Change residence, affiliation, or place of employment. For example, I owe you a drink for helping me move.
open,
Cause to open or to become open. For example, I was rushed to open the door.
paddle,
Propel with a paddle. For example, paddle your own canoe.
paint,
Cover the surface of something with paint, as decoration or protection. For example, you can mix this paint with water or oil.
play,
Act or have an effect in a specified way, or with a specific effect or outcome. For example, children will play wherever they happen to be.
pour,
Flow in a spurt. For example, pour a little more milk in.
pull,
Direct toward itself or oneself by means of some psychological power or physical attribute. For example, don't pull so hard or the handle will come off.
push,
Move with force. For example, our car broke down and we had to push it off the road.
read,
Interpret something that is written or printed. For example, I read a poem in my native language.
ride,
Be carried or travel on or in a vehicle. For example, I went for a cycle ride on Sunday.
run,
Move fast by using one's feet, with one foot off the ground at any given time. For example, I run about 2 miles every morning.
scream,
Utter or declare in a very loud voice. For example, she let out a scream of pain.
sell,
Exchange or deliver for money or its equivalent. For example, we sell all shapes and sizes of doll.
sew,
Join, fasten, or repair something by making stitches with a needle and thread or a sewing machine. For example, a sewing machine helps us to sew things quickly.
shake,
Tremble or vibrate. For example, she put out her hand to shake mine.
shave,
Remove body hair with a razor. For example, Jerry has to shave twice a day.
shop,
Shop around, not necessarily buying. For example, there's a little gift shop around the corner.
Shout.
Talk in a loud voice. For example, Jane repressed the urge to shout at him.
Sing.
Produce tones with the voice. For example, now I'd like to sing a song by the Beatles.
Sit down.
Take a seat. For example, I just want to sit down and relax.
Skate.
Move on ice skates or roller skates in a gliding fashion. For example, Brandon loves to skate.
Ski.
Travel over snow on skis. Take part in the sport or recreation of skiing. For example, I skied down the mountain.
Sleep.
Be in a state of sleep. Be asleep. For example, you'll feel better after a good night's sleep.
Slide.
Move along a smooth surface. For example, there were lots of children on the slide.
Smell.
Inhale the odor of, perceive by the olfactory sense. For example, Mary smells the flower in the garden.
Sneeze.
Exhale spasmodically as when an irritant entered one's nose. For example, she let out a loud sneeze.
Snore.
Breathe noisily during one's sleep. For example, he began to snore contentedly.
Stand up.
Rise to one's feet. For example, always stand up for your friends.
Study.
Consider in detail and subject to an analysis in order to discover essential features or meaning. For example, their children study hard while ours never.
Swim.
Propel the body through water by using limbs or other bodily movement. For example, he can swim to lengths of the pool.
Talk.
Speak in order to give information or express ideas or feelings. Converse or communicate by spoken words. For example, she recalled her talk with him years ago.
Teach.
Impart skills or knowledge to somebody. For example, a teacher should entertain as well as teach.
Think.
Use or exercise the mind or one's power of reason in order to make inferences, decisions, or arrive at a solution or judgments. For example, I don't think the rain would last long.
Throw away.
Discard something as useless or unwanted. For example, I don't need that anymore, you can throw it away.
Touch.
Make physical contact with or come in contact with. For example, don't touch the door, the paint is wet.
Wait.
Stay in one place and anticipate or expect something. For example, let's wait till the bus comes.
Walk.
Using feet to advance step by step. For example, my husband proposed that I should go for a walk.
Wash.
Clean with some chemical process. For example, go and wash that filth off your hands.
Watch.
Look at or observe attentively over a period of time. For example, you can't watch TV until you've done the homework.
Water.
Pour or sprinkle water over a plant in order to encourage plant growth. For example, I always water the plants in the morning.
Whistle.
Utter or express by whistling For example, he is whistling to get attention.
Win.
Attain success or reach a desired goal. For example, this win has been a great morale booster.
Write.
Marking letters or words on a surface, typically paper, with a pen, pencil, or similar implement. For example, the child is learning to write.